Welcome, I'm Brett Gilliland, co-founder and CEO of Visionary Wealth Advisors, and today I'm with Scott Vieregge. Scott, how you doing?
Doing great, Brett.
Awesome, man. It's good to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
So I was looking at our post today, our post from Visionary Wealth Advisors. We're talking about Financial Literacy Month.
Right.
Follow us on social media for every month, but especially this month. We're going to try to do as much education as we can for people to really just think about financial literacy in a different way, think about their finances. And today we're going to be talking about kids. You got some kids?
Yeah, I've got 3 great kids. I've got twins that are 7 and just a blast. I got a daughter, Charlotte, who is 1.5.
1.5. And I've got my 4 boys. I think it's important. I was in a meeting last week with a client, and this client had a new baby. And he said, what's the choices, right? What are the choices out there for my kids? And I think we take for granted being in this business every single day for our kids' future. Yeah. And I think it's important today for us to just sit down, talk about what those options are. And that's what you're going to spend some time with us on.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get that question a lot, Brett. It's, man, I'm doing a great job saving my 401k. I'm doing a great job with my investment accounts and things I have with you guys at Visionary, but what can I do for my kids? And so that's what I want to spend some time talking about today. And the first account that I want to talk about was a custodial account. And sometimes you might hear different names for that. You might hear custodial account or UTMA account or UGMA account. These are all abbreviations. So an UTMA account just stands for Uniform Transfers of Minor Account. And that's the most common, and that's the one I want to hit on today. Just think of it as an investment account for your kid, okay? And you being the parent or the grandparent would be the custodian of the account. And so it would be the child's account. They'd be the owner of the account, and it's their account. At age 21 is the typical age for most states. They get all ownership of it. They get all the rights to it, but we can do a lot of things in an UTMA or a custodial account for a kid.
Yeah, and I think it's important too. You mentioned parents and grandparents.
That's right.
I know we work with parents and grandparents, and they want to say, what can I do for my grandkids? I want to save some money. So talk to us about that. How does that process work?
Yeah, so we obviously use 2 custodians here, 2 main custodians, Charles Schwab and TD Ameritrade, and we also have Raymond James. But we would just set up with the grandparent or the parent that paperwork to do that, open the account, and then they can fund it however they would like. So I have clients that fund it on a monthly basis, or clients that just say, I'm going to lump some money in here or there whenever I want. So we do that. There's a lot of different ways we can do that.
And I know there's some other accounts you want to talk about as far as what kinds they are. So let's go through those first, and then I want to come back and talk about pros and cons of each one.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other account one other account that we get some questions about that say, what if I did some life insurance for my kids? So that's another option. It's not I wouldn't call it a savings tool or an investment tool, but it's another option. Creates some insurability, gets some death benefit, heaven forbid something were to happen to that child or grandchild. And the third account that we can spend some time on too is a college savings, or sometimes called 529 account. And so there's different rules there that we can talk about too, but those are all the 3 kind of main types of accounts that I want to focus on today.
Yeah. So talk to us about that. I'm sure people have heard of 529 plans, 529 plans. And so pros, cons, how are those taxed?
Yep. So one of the big benefits on a 529 account is you can get, in most states, you can get some state tax deductions. So in the state of Illinois, if we have clients in the state of Illinois and they use one of the Illinois plans, Illinois has 2 plans, Bright Directions and Bright Start. Either of those plans, you put money into the 529 account, and you're going to get a deduction on your Illinois state taxes. Missouri has Missouri Most. They have the 1 plan. If you contribute to that, you're going to get the Missouri state tax deduction. One great thing about Missouri compared to Illinois is Missouri allows you to use any 529 account in the country. So each state usually has 1 or 2 plans typically. Missouri, along with 6 other states, allows you to use any plan in the country to get their Missouri state tax deduction. Missouri plan, Missouri Most, and the 2 Illinois plans, Bright Start and Bright Directions, are all 3 highly rated plans by Morningstar. Getting the best of the best ratings.
So I think let's spend some time on the 529. So I'll play the person here that may be asking questions and doesn't know what I'm talking about. I want to clarify that in case somebody's like, man, that guy didn't know what he's talking about. But so I think it's important, right? So if my money goes in, if I want to put $1,000 into that 529 account, does that go in pre-tax or post-tax?
Federally, it goes in post-tax, but for your state, again, if under the certain restrictions, you can get some state tax deduction.
So I've already paid taxes on my $1,000. I then put it in my 529 plan. Right. Forget the state tax for a minute. And then that money grows without taxes.
Grows without taxes, and then you can pull it out for college. And we can talk about the Tax Act of 2017 that allows you to use it for K through 12 in certain states too. But let's just stick on college. If you use it for college qualified expenses, room, board, tuition, certain expenses, it comes out tax free.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. So what if, we all have the smartest, most athletic children on earth. Right. So I'm sure like your 3 kids, my 4 kids are going to get a full ride and play sports and all that stuff. But in all honesty, so what if Junior gets a scholarship and it's a $50,000 scholarship? You've got $50,000 in your 529 plan. What happens to that money?
Yeah, so you can pull it out. You don't have to pay the penalty for using it for non-qualified. You can pull money out for the like amount. Same thing would be if your child went to a military academy or heaven forbid they were to get disabled or pass away. You can pull the money out without penalty and tax.
And a 10% penalty?
Yep, 10% penalty is if you use it for a non-qualified. So Junior decides not to go to college and is going to do whatever he wants, and you still have this money sitting there. You can transfer it to another child. But if there's no one else to use the money, whether it's the child, a grandchild, you yourself, for college expenses, you can pull the money out, but you'd pay a 10% penalty plus tax on that.
But I can use it for room, board, tuition, all that stuff pays for college costs. And then I think it's important to reach out to your advisor, but also there's ways to do that for kindergarten through high school, like you said.
Yeah, not every state has accepted or adopted, maybe is the better word, the change to the 529 plan that was passed in the Tax Act of December 17. But yeah, you can use it for K through 12 education. And so you can use it for that. Illinois has not adopted that new policy. Missouri has. We're focusing here in our area, but I would check with your advisor if you're outside the area on what your state allows, or if you want to give us a call, we can certainly help with that as well.
So let's talk about the 529 plan versus the UGMA or the UTMA. And so the pros and cons there, and if I can maybe add a little color on that too. And here's a question I would say I hear a lot is, what if I want to save some money and then at 16 years old, I want to buy a car using that money to teach my kid or to train my kid how money works? Can I do that with an UGMA or a 529 plan?
No, you can't. No, you sure can't. In an UTMA account, it's an irrevocable donation or contribution. And so it's theirs. You can't do anything with it. And at 21, they can do whatever they want with it. The benefits is, compared to a 529, the investment options are almost unlimited. So in an account, you can go buy stock, you could go buy an ETF or mutual fund or whatever you wanted. You can even do some things outside of that, depending on, and I say outside of that, investments such as paintings and stuff can actually be associated with an UTMA. We don't necessarily get into that here all the time, but some of that stuff can be in an UTMA account as well. But yeah, it is the child's irrevocable gift that you've given them. So
great. So at the end of the day, I think it's important that, one, we got to save the right amount of money for retirement, but also it's important to educate our kids.
That's right.
And so
I had my twins got some money for Christmas, and they said, "Dad, what could we do with this money?" And they're trying to learn and save some, and they talked about opening a savings account. I said, "We've got your custodial accounts. Why don't we put some money in there?" So they each took $100 and put it into their custodial accounts out of their own money. And we went through and I helped them pick their own stocks. Yeah. They had a blast doing that.
Yeah. I've done the same with my boys too. So it's funny the stuff they want to buy. Maybe you got to talk them into some different stuff. Yeah. But I think it is neat. I think it's going to be fun for them as they age and become where they invest their own money, that they've at least looked at a stock analysis report, and they also know to buy some things maybe they believe in. So I think that's fun. But I also think it's important too, is just the pure education, right, of saving money. The United States of America doesn't do a good job of saving money. So for this financial literacy month, we want not only adults do we want to educate, but also for the children. Yeah. They don't teach us in our schools, and I know you're, as well as I am, are very passionate about it, is learn at an early age on how important it is to save money. We've all heard that compound interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so if we're doing that over a 50 or 60 or 70 year period versus maybe a 10 or 20 or 30 year period, the results are completely different.
Yeah. Well, and go back to the kids. That $100 they put into their custodial account, they're going to get back in 15 years or less. And they would have probably went and bought some toy that in 6 months they're going to throw out anyways that they don't even need. And now they're going to have 15 years or more of compounding onto that $100, which is just a huge deal.
And I'm sure like you and a lot of our listeners is that grandma and grandpa may give $25 for Easter last weekend and $25 for Halloween and all these things. And like you said, what do you go buy a little toy? No. So our philosophy for years, and our oldest is 15 now, is taking that $25 and then we match it.
Yeah.
And then as the parent matches to now that $50 is going in.
Yeah.
And while that sounds like such a little amount, it adds up. As a parent with a high schooler now, that has added up to a decent amount of money for that child.
Well, savings accounts just aren't paying anything right now. Right. They haven't for some time now. And so I don't personally have savings accounts for my kids. We have a custodial account. That way it's their money. They get it, but it's going to be held in custody for a little while as it grows until they turn 21.
Awesome. Scott, thanks for the wisdom today and talking about UGMA accounts, UP accounts, 529s, life insurance on the kids, lots of stuff there. But I think you would agree with me is reach out to your advisor.
Absolutely.
Call somebody here at Visionary Wealth Advisors. We'll be happy to help you. Again, Financial Literacy Month, this entire month of April, we're going to come to you every single week with the best tips and tools to help you and your family with your wealth management needs. So check us out online at visionarywealthadvisors.com and any of the major social media platforms. We look forward to seeing you soon.